Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel, Quinta Fonte da Pipa, and I would like to start this week's video off by saying a big thank you to our new Patreon supporters, Cohen and Louisa. I hope I've pronounced that right. And I'd also like to say a big thank you to Dan and Eileen Steck for your PayPal donations. I would also like to say a thank you to Thomas and Carla for your Buy Me a Coffee, and I'd also like to say a thank you to Justice Hayes for your super thanks. So let's get into this week's video and thank you all very much.
I'm off to give my mate Douglas a haircut. Unfortunately for him, this is all I've got to do it with. But this is my mate Douglas. Douglas the fir tree. We're allowed to have the trees around the house. They've all been checked and approved, but these bits here need taking off because they're overhanging the roof. These little bits here that come in that are close to the terrace, and unfortunately, because it really gives a lot of shade, these lower bits here, and the reason why is that they advise that we cut them back so you don't get the bridge effect from if the orange tree was to go up in flames, it will then catch into the tree. But if you can see just over there, we've got a hose pipe on the side of the house that reaches all the way down past the fig tree, and it reaches into the garden behind us over there, so we can actually stop anything coming in here. And if you show them the grass, Sandra, that's how trim the goats are keeping the grass, so that's very, very short, so it shouldn't cause us too much of a problem. And this tree was planted over 90 years ago, and the reason I know that is that the daughter of the old owner, Signor Souza, when they visited us a few times, she told us the story of him planting this one, the one we've got at the back gate, and I'll probably put a picture of it in here, and he also planted, at the same time as planting this one outside a school in Cavilla, which very sadly was chopped down about 5 years ago. And even the daughter said, I don't know why, it was in the middle of you know, a school on the outskirts of a village or a city, not in a fire risk area, and they chopped the thing down, which is quite sad. So I'd like to say a very big thank you to Eileen Steck, who last night very kindly sent us a donation, and she said in her little message it was a donation towards me buying some of the grad discs that you saw in last week's video on the back of the machinery cleaning the forest. But unfortunately, putting it towards that, I haven't got the rest of the money, because those bits of machinery are about €2,000 for my tractor. But because you've been so kind and sent me that, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to use that money towards buying some of the quick connectors and some other unions that I need to get my very large sprinkler system set up so I can start watering the land. Because as you've just seen, the field down there is getting brown, and the goat that you sponsor called Muffin eats a lot of food, and we want her to be eating nice lush green food. So maybe later on today I shall go into Castello Branco and I'll go and buy those bits and bobs that I need. But in the meantime, I'm going to get on and carry on giving Douglas the very needed haircut that he needs. As you can see, last year it was a lot higher than this, and this year we're coming in the truck and it's hitting the roof of the truck and everything else, so I'm going to just raise this up a little bit, and I'll probably means that I'll cut this little bit off here. And what I do is, you can buy these in the shops, but they're incredibly expensive, and all it is a pole with a blade on the end. And what this is a blade that normally has a wooden handle on it. It's a handsaw, and the handles often fall apart on them, or rather the bolts that hold the handle to it fall out. So as I've got several of these, what I did with this is I flattened the end of a pole, drilled 2 holes in it, and I secured it to that, and it cost me about €8. There we go. I think we'll have this one off here. I think we'll have to take that off there. And because it's a bigger one and it's heavier, I'll cut it from underneath first. And the reason you cut it from underneath first is if I cut it from the top and it breaks off like that, well, breaks off like that, the bottom bit can rip the bark back into the remaining tree and cause infection. So it's always a good idea to make an undercut first on a heavier branch, or as you've seen me with the chainsaw in some other videos, it's cut it out here. Doesn't matter if it rips a bit, then you've not got the weight of the branch and you can happily just cut through it. So now that should be good enough for me to cut through. There we go. Oh, it doesn't look as nice anymore. Timber.
And this won't get wasted because it is beneficial to goats.
Yeah, the goats will come and eat this. So Sandra and I will chuck this in the back of the truck and we'll dump it off up at the goats and they'll devour that.
And it's good for them.
Yes.
I need to take this branch out, but I don't want to hit any of the goats.
I'll give you a lift.
But I'm not sure where we should put it.
Just put it down to the side, I guess, Mo.
Yeah, so they
Can you go that way?
foliage.
Yeah. Do you want me to help or you can
No,
lift
it's
it?
okay. Go on, Flo. Well, that's all unloaded. It's just now up to them to eat.
And the reason we put it here is because this is one of our burning piles. So once they've eaten it, all we're left with is the branches.
I've just put the goats away and I've come to see the tree branches we've put back, and as you can see there isn't much of Douglas left. The goats have done a really good job of stripping this. We've left a few pine cones, but that's understandable.
So Eileen, with your kind donation, we've gone out and bought half a dozen of these different connectors. There's a male and there's a female, and they connect together like this, and you lock them, and with the pressure of the water it locks them together. I've got 50 meters of hose here, which I've cut into two sections of 25. You might think, why has he chopped it in half? Well, when this is filled with water and there's 50 meters of it, my God, is it heavy. So it's much easier for me to drag this around in 25 meter sections. We've got large taps all around the farm. In fact, let me go and get one. I've got an old broken one here that got cracked. So what I've made is a little tail here, which I can go to the taps in the farm and screw them on. Open the tap, the water will come out of here. I can link this into here and it will feed this system. And the reason I'm doing that is the pump is normally down at our water tank that you've seen on the other side of the road. That comes up through black hard plastic pipes that are buried in the ground, and it feeds several taps around the farm. So I can have the pump down there running, and I can walk around the farm and connect this to many, well, several different taps we've got around the farm, and then that will connect. And then once that's connected to the taps, I can then connect that to this, which feeds the sprinkler head and irrigate the fields. So that's my job for this morning. I'm going to go and hook the trailer up on the back of the tractor, and then I'm going to run it round to the field, and I'll hopefully show you this irrigating some of the fields we've got. Because in the fire, this tripod, which is why it's rusty, got burnt, but the tripod being steel, it survived, but this being aluminium, all this was just like melted. So in a typical fashion for us, this part was 90 quid. When you buy the whole thing, they're about 150 quid. The tripod's the cheapest part. So, but anyway, we have a new one. And then what happens is this. Well,
we'll see in a minute, yeah?
Yeah, well, you're going to see it running in a minute. So, oh, and here come the retrobates. Morning, ladies. On my way up to the goats to go and collect the tractor this morning and let the goats out, just get this whiff of fire, and it's about 9 o'clock now, I think, and at about 8 o'clock there's this really bizarre orange glow in the sky, and that normally there's a fire somewhere, and I seriously think there is a very big fire.
Look at the sun as well.
Yeah, well, there you go, it's fogged. There's a big fire somewhere.
But I've checked the app and I can't see anything in Portugal.
Yeah, well, it could even be from Spain, a huge one. So, but we'll have a look on the app in a bit. You can literally smell a faint whiff of smoke. So that's why we go on about fires, because they're huge. Well, I'm going to give this to Molly. And Molly's going to put it, we've got one field here, and you can see the end of the wall there, that's where the fence line is. We're going to put this on the fence line, so when it rotates in a full circle, it will do both sides of, well, half of that field, half of that field. So 2 birds, 1 stone, we hope. It should do. This has got about a 30 metre radius on it, so it's it'll irrigate quite a bit of land. So you're going to take this, Molly, and I shall put my connector I've just shown everybody, hoping it's going to fit, on one of the taps in the front field.
Oh, it's windy. I should apologise for the wind noise.
There's a heck of a lot of wind today. It might not look it, but that's quite strong, and that's the other problem. With these fires, they travel so quick. Everywhere I'm looking 360, I can see the whole sky is filled with a thin layer of smoke. I can see it up there, I can barely see the mountain. Ah, I wouldn't want to be the fireman trying to fight this today in this wind. And the reason I've got Sandra to come in here and show this field, look how bare it is, thanks Mr. Javali, the wild boar. And if we can show, because I'm a bit taller than Sandra, the field Molly is in is much, much thicker.
Yes.
And this is not doing well at all. So again, sorry for the wind, it really is blowy. What I want to do is I want to dampen this field, so when I plough it, I'm not just going to make plumes of dust, lose half the soil to blowing away, and then I'm going to reseed this one. So I'm going to go over here and fit the tap. This tube here goes that way over the wall, it's down the wall, it goes under the road, and then it comes out down in that field there, and it runs over to the fig tree over there, which is where I normally park the trailer, and we take the water from the tank. Now that will pump the water along here under the road into this pipe work here. It runs along that way, and it just next to the gate we've just come in, it goes up the black pipe, it goes all the way along in front of Molly underground where there's a tap, all the way along there, it goes to the back garden, and then it goes all the way to the top tank. So what I can do is I can push water uphill to fill our top tank, but we don't really push it that far with my small motor. We just use it to fill the granite tank in the back of the garden. if I swap certain taps around, the large tank, which is connected to this section of piping, will backfeed and gravity feed all these taps. And there's literally about 35.5-inch bore taps around on the farm, and they're buried for fire protection. And a lot of people we see, they just have black pipes on the ground, and during the summer that water can come out at scalding temperatures, so it's a good idea to bury them. Right, now what I'm going to do, I will go up there and I will shut the tap off so the water cannot carry on up that way, and it will force feed it along here. To a tap we've got here. This needs reburying because we did half of it. I'm hoping this is going to screw into my tap. And I'm pleased to say it does. Yeah, I would say that's a fire plane I can hear. I can see it. Can you see it in the valley? I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it's ever so grey. That's fire smoke. I wouldn't say it's local, because if it was local it would stink and you would have ashes falling down. Right, that's connected. I'm going to go and get some of the extension hoses and we'll run it over to Molly. And Molly's over there. I'll be back in a moment. Maybe a little bit more, Molly. A bit more, darling. That'll probably do. We can always move it and adjust it whilst I get soaking wet. So you've got a female on yours, haven't you?
Yeah.
And you want a male.
Through the fence?
Yep. So that's Molly connecting that. That's that connected. Then all I've got to do is take the trailer down there, hook the system up, start the pump, and hopefully we shall start to irrigate some of this. Well, this isn't going to work. There's not enough pressure in it. If these kinks are like that, the pressure in the pump should just open them up, but where it's coming uphill and it's going around many bends, what I'll have to do is, well, a long-winded explanation, but use the water in the big tank coming down to feed my pump that then pushes it into this. That ain't working. This is the first time we've done this, by the way.
There you go.
Fred, move! Fred, move! They've worn him.
I'm going to get wet, everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to get wet. Oh God! Okay, I need to get down.
You need to tell your dad it's working somehow. I don't think Dad's impressed.
Well, it's working now. The pickup pipe on the tractor had unrolled and it was obviously sucking air in through the threads, which is why it worked for a few seconds. But it's still not, that's nowhere near as long as that should be spraying.
That should technically be covering all of this field.
Yeah, and I need to adjust it. That should be reaching over here. And I need to buy some boots, because all my boots have collapsed. I'm wearing these and I'm getting so many grass seeds in my socks. no, that's not. I mean, it doesn't help there's a heavy wind today pushing back against it, but it should. From there, yeah, it should be coming out to here. That's not right.
Obviously this isn't ideal, so Dad's gonna have to...
Well, just rethink it. Trial and error, isn't it? You know, I'm not. It's making the whole width of the other field.
Yeah.
Up to the wall, and I can hear it. Just the clack noise isn't as strong as it normally is.
And I got worse.
Yeah. We're right on the edge of it here, aren't we?
Yeah, this is literally the edge of where it is.
There's a few drops there and
And on
there.
my boots.
Disaster has struck again. Dad changed the outlet on the sprayer for a smaller one, so there was too much water pressure and it's ended up blowing the male and female adapter off of the tube that was attached to the sprayer. So I'm having to go down to the tank and turn the pump off.
Jeff enjoying a nice rub. He likes the old broom. Someone suggested we put some brooms up where the goats are. We will do, don't worry. We've already had a few up there, but they wore the brooms out. So we're just going to wait till the compound's all fixed up at the top around the goat barn, and then we'll put some up for them. You're normally scared of him.
I know. I'm not scared of... It's because we had a really nasty ram of a
Well,
sheep.
hang on a minute. We actually had a really nice ram. In fact, it was right here that it happened. The Portuguese guy came round to give me a lovely little book that was all about his life in the village. And he'd given us a female sheep, which died about a month later. So I think that's maybe why we were giving him. We hadn't been here that long. We'd only been here about a year or so. Our ram we had was lovely. And the sheep came in the back garden. And I was stood just behind where the camera is talking to this guy with his truck. And my ram came over and the man's like, "Go on, get out of it." So the ram, and then got a bundle of rope he had and started whacking him. And I didn't at the time really know how to say, "Hey mate, can you stop doing that?" And he beat the ram quite and walked around the garden hitting him with a bit of rope, and he flipped, and that was it. From that day on, the ram was really nasty, and when we say nasty, really nasty.
It was called Nasty Norman.
Yeah.
I've actually got a picture which I'll give to Alex to put up of him. He was
Bigger than him, physically fatter and wider. Now what Sandra's doing there is not a good thing. Don't touch his head.
I'm not touching
She's
his head.
not touching, he's enjoying. Now we see other people with goats and complaining their males are nasty. Depends how you treat them. You've got to be firm with them, but you've also got to be friendly with them. Now you take the camera, look. Yeah, Jeff. I think Jeff is a lovely boy, aren't you, mate? Eh? There's nothing nasty about you whatsoever, is there? Don't want to headbutt me, don't want to do anything nasty. That's how you want a male goat. You want him like a pet. You do not rub their head. You don't rub them from there, round there. That zone there automatically says, "Oh, you want to fight?" So you can rub him here, you can rub his chin. Can't you, big boy? Eh? Can't you? Eh?
Just not anywhere above his eyes.
Yeah. And look at him, he loves it. He's a big wuss, aren't you?
Now he's about to start rubbing on Dad. And
Yeah,
Mum's
and in
gonna-
a second, something will grow. He likes it a little bit too much sometimes.
Yeah,
Ah,
there you go.
there we go. Spot on cue. Well done, Jeff. It's not out yet.
But he's getting happy.
Oh no, it's because there's a fly buzzing around. But oh, he's dripping.
Lovely.
Nice.
Hey, aren't you, silly boy? Hey.
Later on this evening, Mum's gonna be like, "Oh, what's that smell? I can smell goats," and it'll be
Yeah,
Dad.
it's going to be Alex.
But I was going to say, when we got him, all bucks smell. He stunk.
Yeah.
And he still smells, but it's a lot less potent, isn't it?
It's because he's had a month with his ladies.
Possibly.
Hey, you good boy, Jeff. After this morning's, we'll call it a failure, because that didn't really work very well. Where we were earlier, the water comes up here, and you would have seen in one of our older videos me actually trenching along here and burying a pipe, which is this one here, going off in that direction. Now there's a crisscross here of taps, literally across. When I run the pump down there, it comes up here. I shut this off, I open this, and there is, on this line which goes to the big tank at the top, there is another set of taps over there which we can show you, which is what I need to do here. I need to build a little stone box around it to keep all this rubbish from growing. Now that water comes up when I start the pump over there, it comes in here, along there, and it goes into that tank. So if I shut this now and I go over there and I open that tap, the water from our huge tank at the top of the farm will rush down this pipe, and because I can turn that off there, it will come out through this pipe and into our pump, and then hopefully we can run the pump and then get more pressure to the sprayer, and it will be more efficient and cover more square area of land. Right, well, after what I've just said, looking at it, I'm going to make it work, but it won't work how I've just explained it. And the reason why is this one that goes to the tank over there has got no tap, and there isn't a tap between here and the end of the pipe. So if I was to let the water come down here, rather than going in the pump, it's just going to flow down and go in our tap over there. But I'm very lucky because it's got a spin on and off fitting here, and that is what I've just made. Thanks, Ed. So that spin off fitting, what I'm going to do is I'll keep this tap closed, and I'm going to swap this pipe for the one that goes on there until I've got time to go and buy a tap to go in here, and then I can work this a lot better. So let me go and get the pipe I've just made. I had a spare one of these sucker pipes, and the reason you have this is because it's got this ribbing in it, because it's sucking. If I use this, when the pump sucks, it just collapses the pipe, and then it would no longer be able to suck water. So the sucker pipe, the input side, has to be this rigid, flexible pipe. And I did have one for another pump which was hanging in the tree down there, so I've just gone and got it earlier, and I've swapped some ends over, and I now need to go and get it. So or would Molly like to get it for me? No, the look on her face, she don't want to go and get it. Go on, save the old man's legs.
Yes,
I'm the wrong side of
is
50 now, mate. It's just in front of the house, sweetheart, on the gravel.
Oh, that's fine. I thought you meant by the
No, I've fitted it all. But I've run out of Jubilee clips, so I need to get a couple of Jubilee clips and another tap. Oh, when I mentioned earlier I've got no boots, I've been wearing these darn things. At the moment, all these grass seeds, all of us are suffering. Even Sandra, it's going in the top of her trainers, and when they get stuck in your sock, it's like having needles in your shoes. It's really quite painful. We've just managed to buy me a second-hand pair of boots from what's it called? Vinted.
It's an
So
app
got
on
myself
your
a second-hand pair of nice-looking Timberlands that don't look like they've been worn for 28 euros. So cheaper than I can buy a cheap pair of work boots in CB. And all the sort of work boots I find out here are steel toe capped, and I hate steel toe cap boots. There's no need for me to have them here, and when I bend down, which I'm always crouching down, they pinch on the back of your toes and they're really uncomfortable to wear. So couple of days postage hopefully, and I should have myself a new pair of boots, because all my others are falling apart.
Here she comes.
Oh, and I've got my little boots like Molly's wearing at the moment, very similar. So those boots that I've got, when I strim, I get so much rubbish in my boots. Molly's going to make me a pair of gaiters out of some old trousers that I've got, to stop the rubbish going inside my boots. Because on Sunday I'm going off to the village at 9 AM to go and help the village mayor, and with a bunch of other guys from the village who I'm not quite sure who's turning up yet, we're going to clean either the road to Sinidorada Church, where you see the girls go to pick water from the font, or we're going to clean around the church. Not quite sure where we're cleaning, but we're going to be doing a lot of strimming. And the reason we're doing it is in a couple of weeks, or next weekend, I'm not exactly sure which weekend it is, there is a pilgrimage to the church at Sinodorada, and there's a huge, virtually the whole village turns up, and they have picnics and whatnot up there. So this is cleaning in preparation for that, and the mayor asked if I would go and help them, so I said yes, of course I will. So I've serviced all my strimmer, and I've got all the other bits and pieces.
I want to add a little fact in. The thingy is the 27th and the 28th, and on the 27th in the evening they play Fado and cook chicken up at the church.
Yeah, and I'd like to go to that because I've missed the last 3 years and I really like Fado, so that would be a good evening for me to go and have a nice relaxing evening.
And there are also lots of picnic tables up there, and people started reserving those picnic tables from about the 20th of April, so you start early.
Yeah, it's quite a big event, isn't it? I mean, there's car parks set back and it's full. Well, hopefully we'll film some of it, so in a couple of weeks you'll see this event. So right, let's have a go, see if we can get this working. This is the pipe Molly's just gone and got. Thankfully it's got the same fitting on this end which will attach to my pump, and it had a strainer on the end where it will go in the tank. I've cut that off, and thankfully I had a spare barb in the shed from an old job, because you can see it's got tape on it. I've hammered that in there. Like I said, I've run out of Jubilee clips, but the amount of force it's taken to hammer that into this, I don't think it'll pop off because it's a suction pipe. Right. Right, there we go, just like that. To do with my proper pipe pliers. Right, well that's tight, but I might be able to reverse a little bit more with the truck. I stopped there because the goats were here and there was no one standing around to see me back, so maybe Molly now can see me back. Well, let's have a quick look. It might. Oh no, it'll fit. Ooh. We might. You hear that, guys? That might be water coming from the top if the tap's already open. It shouldn't be though, but something's moving in there. Yep, it's closed. So
when doing jobs like this, be careful for scorpions and that specific type of worm.
yeah, and then the other, normally I'd have a pair of gloves on, but right, well this one here comes from the big top tank. This is the tap I'm talking about that's running to where we are, and this one here used to go down to the orange terrace. So, but in the fire it got burnt because this bit's not completely underground, so I need to replace and join them there because it's only missing there. Right, now I'm wondering, I think it might be turned off up at the top. I can't hear anything. Let's open this one. Oh no, it's coming. There you go. Well, that should be now going along there. We can go back to the pump now. You go back that way, Molly. I'll go back round the other way and I'll grab some of the big pliers, the water pliers, the pump pliers. That's what we need.
They're a bit more like it.
Who's ready yet? Oh. They're ready. Oh, they're lovely. She's a running. I wouldn't stand there, Mo, if I was you.
Yeah, probably not the best idea because that's going to go phew.
I just want to tighten that bracket up a bit.
Oh, here comes your boyfriend.
Hello, mate. Wait, Jeff.
Oh, is he going to pick you some food?
Jeff, anda cá, cara. Aqui. Quero? É, tu quer. Gosto. Quer mais? Queres mais? Tá aqui. Comes as sementes. Come tudo.
You didn't get it from me.
Jeff, Jeff. Oh, mate. You're a lovely boy. Yes, you are. Look at these things. What did I just kiss him for?
Oh, you're weeing on yourself again.
Oh. Oh. The adjustable spanner's about 5mm too short to go around that, which is why, because the farm's so big, I bring several, cover all the bases.
Instead of having to send me back to get
well,
pipes.
anyone. Oh yeah, it's a long way to walk, isn't it? Right. Okay. Now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to wait till sunset before I can run the pump again, because it's now it's 2:30 in the afternoon, something like that, lunchtime, and it's beyond 11 AM, so I can't run the pump. So we shall wait till sunset, and then I'll come out and we'll but what I'll do is I'll go and grab the other flexible hose. I won't show you doing that, but I'll reconnect the hose down there to the sprayer, and we'll see how we get on. I'm hoping this now the pump will be working at its full pressure. There we go, that's good. Diane's under it. Hello, Diane. Hello, Diane. Oh, I can have some more of these fruits.
Well, Jeff's waiting for a few more.
Yeah. Loquats. Oh, mate. One for me, one for you. The seeds in them are huge.
Jeff will eat your seed.
Jeff will eat it. Come on, mate.
Oh no, it's been in your mouth.
I could hear you crunching them.
Oh, germs. And this happens every time I film.
What are you doing, Jeff? Huh? These are good. I need to come out here and pick these, because these don't last long.
No.
I think in the 9 years we've been here, I think we've collected them about 3 times. One year the tree didn't produce anything, which is really bizarre. No fruit whatsoever. And this year they're quite good.
Aren't they, Jeffrey?
Come on then, Jeff, I'll give you a couple more, mate. You're a good boy. I actually really like Jeff. And he's named after my dad. Come here, fella. The juice that's just come out and squirted all over my legs. They don't look very big, but they're really juicy.
Dad's just found some more burnt plastic in the grass.
Still clearing up after the fire. We had irrigation everywhere.
This was a drip system, wasn't it?
But you could tell how quickly the fire passes, because it's still pretty whole.
And no, that's not more food, Jeffrey.
No, that's not good to eat that, Jeff.
No, thank you.
Hey.
He definitely prefers Dad.
Well, he's very friendly with Will, who's castrated, and Will is my brother's name. Sorry, mate, we castrated him. But if you put 2 males together that are complete, they will kill each other pretty much. They'll beat each other. One of them's going to end up, yeah, on the wrong side. One of them's going to overpower the other.
But when our vet came over to take their bloods and do their yearly vaccinations and stuff, the vet was like, well, why have you got a boy that's not a breeder? Because goats, if they are kept on their own, can get depressed.
Or get depressed, and then that starts health problems, and then they get ill. So it's a companion, because you mustn't keep goats singularly.
No.
They get depressed. So it's how you treat. With him, when we got him, we trained him with a water bottle.
Yes.
And we squirt water on him. And goats don't like water, and then when you scrunch the plastic bottle, the noise it makes, all we need to do now is, if he's ever playing up, is just crunch the water bottle and he just go, okay, I'm off, and he leaves.
And because he's also, you taught me this, they disassociate the water bottle from you. The water bottle threw the water on them, not you.
Yeah, if you hit them with a stick, they know you've hit them with the stick, but if you throw water on them, something in them, they don't associate that you did it to them, and then they don't turn against you. There's a few things we could share with people, because we see a lot of people saying they've got problems with their goats. Look at him tense with his skin rippling, because you like the tickles, don't you? Eh?
Oh,
and his thin fur, by the way, we've asked the vet, he said this is perfect. He said he's a pure Merciana, and the males have very thin hair, so he's a good boy.
but he's been laying in the forest over here that they've cleaned.
Yeah.
So they're all very dusty.
Yeah, our white goats, the Sarnans, are actually white, if you believe it or not. But at the moment, with all the dust everywhere, they take on this brown colour. Has he gone with his lady?
No, he's trying to mount your tractor, I think. He's trying to drive it.
Oh no, he's eating. He's just eating the grass underneath it.
Because I do think I filmed this previously.
But some of our little goats like to jump on Dad's tractor and leave the lights on, so...
Yeah. And it's not, or they've turned the lights on and I come in and the battery's flat. They've only done it twice, but... Right, well, that's as much as I can do till sunset. Got myself a few fruits to eat. I'm going to go and start editing some of this video, I guess. I'm going to go and get a nice cup of tea. And leave the goats to it. Just stopped to have a quick look at the pear tree and you can tell we've got goats. What they can reach is they pull down, they'll stand up and... No, these ones are mine. So we've got pears growing on the tree here. This one normally has 100, you cheeky monkey. She just used that to nick a leaf. Hello, Flo.
But have you noticed our plum tree's gone funny this year? Normally both of these trees here are laden. This one's
dead.
But it was alive last year.
Yeah, it was alive and healthy, and something in the weather, because a lot of people in the village have said,
hey, Flo,
Flo.
Get. There you go, that's what happens.
You can't stop them, and it's not a bad thing. They eat it to a limit and then they can't get to them anymore.
Yeah.
So it's sort of, it's the bark I worry more about on the trees. No, I've said they're mine. Look, have a thistle. Come on. You like thistles? Come on. Yeah, we've got plums, but again, the tree just doesn't... Ow, that's my foot you just stood on. Oh, no bites. Go away.
He just wants Dad's fruit.
Yeah. Look, off you go. Yeah, so we've got plums. But the tree's just not looking great. Some of the others weren't great, and I don't know why, but they planted some of the fruit trees so close to each other that we could actually do with ripping the odd one out to give the better ones space to grow. So
He's being really cheeky.
I know he is. Don't, no, begging, mate.
This is exactly what Eddie does as well.
I've seen some people can't get, you know, they can't play with their male, they'll smash into bits. Hey, silly boy. I'm gonna have to wash my hands 2 or 3 times now. I didn't come out here last night. I've started editing the video, but I've come out about 8 o'clock. I've rigged up the green hose, and that is probably doing about the same distance as it was yesterday, but at the moment that's just running from the pressure of the big tank up the top. I'm just going to get Sandra to turn the tap off because I'm going to change the nipples, the jets rather, and I'm going to go for the biggest one we've got. There we go. and that'll just be the residual pressure in the hose here. So I'm going to go and open the gate, go in there and swap it. As I just said, Sandra turned the tap off, so if I open it, obviously it's got to fill this length before that will pressurise, but that's the water rushing from the tank at the top of the farm. I'll give you a better look at the nozzles, and I've put the biggest one on there at the moment, which will allow more water. I think, Sandra, you can see it in the background there operating. I'm going to start the pump. Oh, I'm getting water on me here, little droplets. There we go. And it's coming up here a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move that closer to the fence, so it gets a little bit closer to that wall and doesn't quite water here, because it's blowing on here. I think you can see how wet the mud patches are already. Right up to the edge of the wall over there, and that's over half the distance of that field being watered. And we can adjust these stops here, which is what makes it return. So if I give that a bit more there, it should come around a little bit further here, because you can see it's a little bit dry. Let's see where it stops now. There we go, it's right in that corner now. That's better. I'm going to give it a tiny little bit more of a push, because when this little lever here hits that, it'll return. Start to activate it. GoPro's getting soaking wet. That's better. At last we got it working. Oh, you look a little bit wet there, people. Is that better? No. And there's a little fine mist that comes off of it because of these little pins that you can adjust, and it's saturating the ground all over here. So happy with that. I'm happy it's reaching the road. So let's hope next week we can show you a little bit more greenness in this field. And what Sandra's just told me is they forecast rain for tomorrow, but being Portugal, they often say tomorrow you're going to get rain, and it doesn't happen. So I'm not going to hold off on irrigating. It needs to be done. If it rains, it's a bonus. Look at that mist all over here. So it's watering a much bigger area than where it's actually pointing with a little mist, and that actually makes quite a bit of difference. This is damp now. I'm actually getting covered in it, which I don't mind at all. And then that's coming right round to the edge of this wall. The mist coming off of it is watering this corner, not very well, but it's watering it. Sandra's in her Jimmy Jam. She's going to love me showing you, like, as she's hiding behind a post, but she's getting wet up there from it. So, and we haven't got the water pump on maximum, so it'll save fuel because it's got the pressure coming from the tank. The pump doesn't need to force so hard. So I'm very, very happy with that. And then what we'll probably do in another hour and a half or so, if we can get this done before 11 AM, is we will move this over there, and then it will irrigate the other half of these 2 fields. So 2 fields, 1 spray. Oh, look at that lot coming at me. That's a good feeling to get that going like that. Happy, very, very happy. I'm exhausted. It's 9:15 and I'm just about to leave for the village to go and help the guys strim all the roads to the Sindorada church. Just put my strimmer and everything in the back of my equipment in the back of the truck, and I don't believe it. There's always something, isn't there? Perfectly good fuel can. Picked it up from my barn on the floor, put it in the truck here, and I got a hole in the corner when I put it in the bed of my truck. There's absolutely nothing in here that would have caused a leak, but as you can see, it leaked out. So don't know what's up with that. Bit weird. So I've had to put it in an old oil can. Right, I'm going to get off. I've got to go and meet the guys in the coffee in the village. I don't think I'll film it because it'll probably embarrass the heck out of them all, but I'll try and get a bit of footage of us trimming today and show you what we've achieved at the end of the day. They're going to cook us a lunch, so I better get going. See you in a bit. Just coming up to the village. Meet everybody on the cafe on the left here. Well, just had a nice lunch, gone to the cafe for coffee, and now we're going to go and clean, I think, outside a lady's house in the village. Some of what we cleaned earlier. Este é o mesmo fio? Não. Epa. Oh, Felipe.
Já estás a filmar?
Sim.
Já ali está.
Não tens suplentes?
Olha, o quê?
O fio.
Está ali, está aqui.
Ah, ok.
Bora.
Vamos embora. We didn't have time earlier, so I'm just going to show you where I cleaned on my own earlier. So I'm back home after helping the guys in the village. Didn't get a lot of chance to take much footage, so sorry about that. I should have taken a video of the road before I cleaned it, because there was loads of grass growing up all along the edges. And then I used the backpack wind blower from the junta, from the village council, and then I blowed it all into piles on the side of the road, and then the other guys that were helping came along and they scooped it up. Then we went for lunch, as you've already seen. Met a nice bunch of new guys, not quite from the village but all from the Red Cross that were helping out for the day. Philip collected a nice little lunch for us from the village restaurant. Sorry, I'm absolutely exhausted. I got to bed at 2 a.m. this morning. I got to bed at 2 a.m. this morning editing the video that you're about to watch, and I got up at 6:30 this morning to get some other bits done, and then I went off and met them for 9 a.m. and it's now 6 o'clock and I've just got back home. And in the typical Portuguese fashion, a few beers after work and all the rest of it, so I think I'm going to sleep really well tonight. So I'm going to go indoors, finish editing this video, render it, upload it to YouTube, and then tomorrow I shall sort of do the description and whatnot on it. That'll be bye from me. I think Molly's going to say a quick goodbye. Thanks to all our Patreons and everybody else. If you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up, and I'm going to bed.
I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of you making it this far into this week's video. So don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, the little notification bell, leave us a comment. And for those of you who want to support our channel, the links are down below, and we will see you back here next week.